Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the 21st episode of the Sporting Updates podcast. I am your host, Sam Fonseca, and today I am joined by Steph. How are you doing today, Steph?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. So let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, I'm also joined today by Danny as well. How are you today, Danny?
Doing great, man. How are you doing, Sam?
Mate, I'm fine. Tired, but fine. I'll get through it, so don't worry about me. Exactly. We'll start off with Steph's got a few questions from our Twitter audience. So, Steph, you want to take it away?
Yes, of course. So let me pull it up. We have a question from Bruno. He's been a guest in our show, and his question is: Are Sporting done in the transfer window? Who deserves the most credit for Sporting's turnaround this season? And then he gives his opinion. To me, this is the strongest squad we've had in years, so there should be no excuses not to win the league, right? We better win everything this year. So go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, we have a strong squad for sure. I think maybe this squad 2 years ago was the strongest, I'd say, in my opinion at least, with João Mario, Adrian, William, Slimani, Monteiro, Teo, Gutierrez. We had a bunch of them. But anyways, like for our transfer window, I don't think we're done. I think maybe a center back. I'd prefer a left back, at least another one. Jonathan Silva's out, and I think even when he comes back, maybe he's not good enough. So I think maybe just a left back, maybe a center back, and we'd be good. The most credit, I don't know. I'll give that to Bruno Carvalho, Jorge Jesus, the scouting department. I think they all deserve the coaching team as well. I think they all deserve massive credit because of what we've done this January. Seems to be pretty special. We're not only building and pushing for this season on all fronts, but we're also building for. We're already thinking about next season with like Vendel and stuff like that. So I guess that's that. That's me answering those questions.
Okay, Sam, what do you think?
So I think to the credit of the team, whose credit is, I think it's the whole team. I think everyone's really stepped up these last couple of weeks. But that being said as well, I agree with Danny with Bruno de Carvalho and the scouting department, finding all these players like Acuna, who I'm not going to lie, before he even came to Sporting, I've never even heard of him. And, getting Mateu and getting Coentrao. So I think those have really improved our team. And that's why I think they've turned it around. And in terms of signings, I really, to be honest, can't see any more coming. Maybe a few loan deals and like maybe a few. The only one I could possibly see coming in still is Marcelo from Rio Ave, but other than that, I really don't see any other transfers coming through.
Okay, so I'll give you guys my opinion. I think Sporting basically is done in the transfer window. Who deserves the most credit for the Sporting turnaround this season? The whole team, like Sam said, and also JJ. The players have stepped up. Do we need to get anybody else? Nah, I don't think so. Not even a left wing. Jonathan Silva is good enough. He understands all the process by JJ. He's been with the team for a while. Another left back, he has to basically learn the whole to the Portuguese league. That would take a while. If you want a player to just impact in the team, I think it's too late to be a player from the Portuguese league like Ruben Ribeiro, because even Wendell and Mizik, JJ confirmed that it's not for this season; it's for next season. He's prepping them for next season, so they're thinking about the next season. Like Sam said, I think Marcelo, he might come to Sporting now in January, which again, he's well adapted to the reality of Liga NOS. And I'm hoping that Rafinha from Guimarães, Vitória, also comes in January. Besides that, that's it. The next question was from Leo Interno, from Brun Brito. He's been in our podcast before, and pretty soon he'll be again in our podcast. And his question is, what's your opinion about the first 15 days in the transfer window, and who do you think that can arrive on the next 16 days? So, Sam, go first.
I think the first 15 days have been very good. You know, to say 3 signings, like you said, two for the next season. But Ruben Ribeiro, in the first game he played, he was fantastic. So very positive about that signing. And also Freddie Montero, we've all seen what he's done in the past, and he can really change up our squad as well. So the first 15 days, really happy. But in the next 15 days, like I said, the only player who I hope comes in and who I think will come in is Marcelo from Rio Ave. But other than that, I don't think anything is happening in the next 15.
Go ahead, Dan. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Sam there. First 15 days have been excellent. Getting players for the next year. I still think Misic and Wendell will play a few games here or there in the league this year, or even in Europa League, somewhere along the lines. They'll play a game, and they'll show their quality. I think they're going to be really good players. At least Wendell. I'm not too sure. I have never seen Misic or even heard of him before. So, but yeah, Ruben Ribeiro was good. We needed that experience from Liga NOS, and as he showed against Av, she's a great player and a player we can trust in. I mean, we're all over the moon about Freddie Montero because we know how good he is. And then, yeah, like you guys said, Marcelo coming in at center back would be solid for us, for center back, seeing that Tobias might leave. Hopefully, as well, if we're going to talk about exits, hopefully players like Brian Ruiz or I think Matheus Oliveira left today or is rumored to leave today or tomorrow. So, players like that need minutes that shouldn't be a part of our squad. I think they should be out the door this January. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said before, I think we need another left back just because Jonathan Silva's still injured, and who knows what will happen when he comes back if he regains an injury. And right now we're thin, seeing as Cointrão's had a past with injuries. I'd feel more comfortable with the left back, but it's nothing that I'm really worried if we don't get.
Yeah, so basically, to answer the Brito's question, we got Wendell, which is 20 years old, from Brazil, number 6.5. So, like JJ said, to him, all the tactics are Chinese. So he needs to learn the European way of playing football, which is quite different from South American and Brazil. So Wendell, if he plays a couple games, I'll be surprised, just because in the Taça da Liga, the League Cup, we just way too deep for experiments. We play in Porto on the 24th, so we're gonna have our A team that game. In the Taça de Portugal, again, we way too deep. We're in the semifinals. I don't think we'll see any of these players in playing those 2 games against Porto again. In the Liga Europa, if we want to win it, if we want to have a shot at it, again, we're going to see our A team. So again, I don't think we'll see Wendell and Misic. So I don't know when they'll play. I don't think they'll play this season. If they do, it's because JJ sees something amazing about them when they practice, and then maybe at home against a weaker team. But let's not forget, even the teams in last place, and they fighting for not to be demoted. So like Estoril against Porto, they were winning 1-0. They were giving it all, and they in last place because they don't want to drop into the second division. So I don't think we'll see Wendell and Misic playing a whole lot. They're prepping them for next year. But I'm very content with Ruben Ribeiro. A lot of experience. This guy, you saw the assist to Bas Dost, amazing. So that's a good thing. And if we get Marcelo Tobias, he'll be chipped out to another division, to another country for sure. Like you said, Matheus Oliveira, I think everything is worked out between the clubs. Now Guimarães has to work out the salary with Matheus Oliveira. That was the only iffy iffy going on. Yuri Medeiros is going to Geneva, Italy. The deal is almost done. And I believe Alan Ruiz might go to Espanyol of Spain, which is a good thing because at this point in time, he doesn't want to be in Sporting. So let him go. We don't need him at all. He's a cancer now. And Montero is a nice addition because he knows the Portuguese culture. One of his kids was born in Portugal even. And he knows the Liga NOS quite well. So he'll just fit in. The only negative thing is the last time he played in Canada, in the MLS, he played for a Canadian team, Vancouver, I believe. He scored 19 goals. Was in November 3rd. So, but he's been keeping up his fitness, but now he has to regain the rhythm. So they have a plan for him. He's physically fit, but that's the only negative thing. He lacks a rhythm. But besides that, I'm very content with everything else. So let's move on to the next question. The next question was from Kyle Dika, which he was also a guest in our show. And the question is, do you think Wendell will be a great future player or another Brazilian dud? With Montero coming in, do you see Dumbia finally being let go? Also, thoughts on the Estoril Porto situation. So, Sam, go first.
I think I haven't seen much of Wendell in general, so I really don't have like the luxury to comment on that because I literally not even seen. I know there's been highlight videos, but I haven't had time to watch them. So about Wendell, I really can't give my opinion on it. But the Montero thing, however, I still think we keep Dumbia. I just don't see us cutting ties with him in January. Maybe next summer I can see us cutting ties with, but I know Dumbia hasn't really played much, but I still think he's a vital bench player to come on when we're down a goal, we need a goal, and I think getting rid of him would be a mistake. And the thoughts on the Estoril Porto thing, you know, I'm glad it's gone to a replay and Porto haven't been awarded 3 points, but I still think Porto can be awarded if there's the investigation comes back in favour of Porto and against Estoril. But hopefully it goes to the second half, which is, I believe they said 21st of February. So yeah, I think it's a good decision by the league.
Okay, Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, just to piggyback off the Porto thing, I agree. Gladly, it's luckily for us, or just happily in general, it's a replay because you know, it would have been unfair for us. It would have been unfair to Estoril, the fact that, you know, winning 1-0, you know, certain things are out of their control, and you know, they would end up losing that game off a forfeit. I don't think that's fair. I think maybe I don't know why I haven't looked into it. Maybe there's other reasons as to why it's February 21st. I just think that's way too far away for, you know, a second half for just, you know, 45 minutes. I think maybe it should have been played the next day. It's happened with us against Benfica where the derby was played the next day. It's happened with Porto, I think, as well, in Nacional last year. Of course, there's different. I mean, that was for fog, but nonetheless, you know, with us, it was the stadium was, you know, the luge, you know, was debris was falling from the roof, so we had to play the next day, and I think it might be a little unfair that the only reason that they're playing on the 21st is because of Porto's schedule. But whatever. I mean, at least they're playing the replay and they're not just getting the automatic 3 points. Monteiro. Dumbia, yeah, I think Dumbia should leave. I think he's showed us one good game, and that was against Olympiacos, or two good games, and one was against Olympiacos, which is credit to him. Olympiacos is a big team. The other good game was against Vila Verdense, which was a third division team. He's not been impressive. He's not been the Dumbia that we seen in CSK Moscow a few years back. He's not the Dumbia that we seen last year in Basel banging in goals. I haven't been impressed with Dumbia at all. Maybe it's just him adapting to life in Portugal or him adapting to JJ's tactics. It hasn't been impressive at all. So hopefully JJ and bringing in Monteiro, who's played at least half a season under him, who's has recognition of the league, who I mean, some of these players he still knows, like William and even Jelson Coates and all of them, and Rui Patricio, like he's still, it wasn't that long where he wasn't on the team. So he recognizes the players. Hopefully he adapts well. And then Wendell, I've seen highlights of him. I've actually seen him play a few games in the Serie A in Brazil. He's a really good player, and I'm really excited to see him play. I think he might have a few games here or there in the season. Later on, if there's injury or if just players are too tired to play, like Bataglia or Bruno Fernandes, one of them, if they get tired to play, I think Wendell can step in and do a job. Hopefully, within the next month, he adapts well. And yeah, that's my answer to the 3 questions.
Okay, so let me put my 2 cents. So I think Wendell, given time, he's only 20 years old. Once again, he'll be a great player for Sporting. Basically, what we need to understand is Sportingistas. Sporting is doing something that we're not used to. They acquiring players now for season 18-19, which is actually very smart. Because now they have from January until next season, which if we finish in first place, we'll qualify for the Champions League automatically. But if we finish in second place, we have to do the playoff. So then we start the season in July. So with that said, the players will have until January, until July to adapt to the reality of the Portuguese culture, to Sporting as a club, and Liga NOS. So that's a huge advantage. So Wendell, if he plays a couple of games, I'll be surprised. But if he doesn't play any games, that's fine too. As long as he's set to go for 2018-19 season, I'm content. Now the Montero coming in, it's a very, very, very smart acquisition. He knows the Portuguese league, and I have no doubt that in a couple of weeks he'll be set to go. He's good physically. The medical staff only said good things about his medical assessment. So I think Montero, he'll be set to go anytime soon. And then the Estoril Porto situation, I think, me personally, I know a little bit more in depth into it because I looked into it. I think Porto is trying to pull a fast one, and that's embarrassing for a club that's so-called. He wants honestidade no futebol. He wants all fairness. They want to be considered a big club of Europe with 7 international titles, which they have it. You don't behave the way they behaved. They basically purposely picked the 21st, delaying as much as they could, because now they want to fight this game in the with the Liga and try to get the 3 points, saying that Estoril is at fault for what happened with the stadium. Maybe Estoril is, and most likely Estoril is. By the rules and regulations, most likely Porto will get the 3 points. But if you want to be considered one of the top teams of Europe and a big team, you don't pull a fast one like that. You choose the high road and say, you know what, it doesn't matter. We'll play the 45 minutes that of the second half because we don't want to be champions of Portugal and have a little star to that championship. How do you think Sportingistas and Benfiquistas will look at Porto winning this championship by winning 3-0 in the office, in the Secretaria? We'll make fun of them for the rest of their lives. So you as a Portista, why would you want that? Seriously, why would you want that? Me as a Sportingista now, I would call Bruno Carvalho or whoever, and I tell him, now play the goddamn 45 minutes. The rule is they should have played the second half of 45 minutes within 30 hours. But Porto and Estoril, they didn't agree with it. And don't tell me it's a lack of stadiums. Estoril, you're surrounded by stadiums. You have Bonfim, Estádio de Belém, do Restelo, Estádio de Alvalade, Estádio da Luz. You have so many stadiums. Estádio Nacional. They could have made a few phone calls and played the next day in the morning if they choose to. Because Porto, they're saying that they have a game on Friday. Okay, it's on Friday. So you could have played 45 minutes in the morning the next day and get it over with. Like you said, Danny, we've had Benfica Sporting when the roof with the strong winds lift off the roof in Stade de Luz. And this is our biggest rival. Sporting and Benfica don't even get along. But you know what? We played the next day. We had several cases in Nacional with the fog. I think it was all three clubs, Sporting, Benfica, and Porto. And the next day we played. But Porto is being smart. They don't want to play now because they know they can win this in the Secretaria. And that's embarrassing for a so-called big club acting like a little club. So for all Portistas, go fuck yourselves if you want to win the easy way. I don't like it. And that's all I got to say about that. So the next question is from Rui Apostolo. Thoughts on the players we've signed this month, especially Ruben and Montero? What other positions do we still need reinforcement? Or what specific players would you guys like to come? So Dan, go ahead.
So specific players, I would love Messi and Ronaldo to come. I think they would definitely reinforce the squad. No, the players we signed, they're good players. They're exciting to see at least. We mentioned that before. Ruben had a good game against Aves. Finished it off with an assist. We'll talk about that later. Monteiro, we all know what Monteiro can do. I think we're all excited for what Monteiro can do. And like we mentioned before, I think the only thing we might need is Marcelo to come in and maybe a left back of, I don't know, somewhere to come in. I can't really think of one right now, but yeah, I think that's all that really needs to be brought in.
Okay, so what about you, Sam?
Yeah, like I said before, Ruben had a great game on against Aves. Was it last Sunday? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Same with Freddie Montero. Always liked him. I was disappointed when he left, so I'm glad he came back. And hopefully he has the same impact as he did the last before the season he left, because he was absolutely fantastic. And being said, like I said before, I hope we get Marcelo, the centre back for Rio Ave, in the coming weeks. But other than that, I really don't think we need any positions reinforced.
Okay, so I feel the same way. I think the players we signed off so far, they've been excellent. Love Wendell, love Missick, thinking about the future. Ruben Ribeiro, thinking about the present. We have Rafinha, they might come. He's scoring goals. The last two games at Guimarães, he scored goals. Marcelo, good center back. And let's see, the position. I don't think we need anything. I don't think we need reinforcements. People have to not forget that Christovski can play the right fullback and left fullback, and we still have Bruno Cesar to play left fullback if Quintão gets hurt. So
I like Bruno Cesar, but not a left back.
I know, but hey, if we have to, we even have the B team. We have the B team as well. Okay, so that's all for that. So then we have another question from Chip Carvalho, and he says, how happy are you to see Freddie return, and how far do you think we can go this season in terms of winning trophies? I think we can win all three in Portugal and want us to give a lot in the Europa League. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I'm super thrilled with Freddie Montero. I mean, as you guys know, and maybe some of the viewers know, I'm from Toronto. So when Freddie moved to Vancouver, I was kind of excited, thinking that there was going to be more games between. Because in the past, at least, there was at least 2 or 3 games between Toronto and Vancouver. So maybe I'd be able to see him, get a picture, get an autograph. I was disappointed that the only game that Toronto faced Vancouver was in Vancouver. That's a 3-hour flight. That's like $500 that I do not have, so I couldn't see him. But the fact that we can see him, that I can see him, you know, in a Sporting shirt again. You know, I was also, like Sam said, I was also disappointed when he left to China 2 years ago. I think with him, we might have won the league. Hopefully, he can finish where we left off, and that's win the league this season with him, because I would love nothing more than either, you know, when there was rumors with Slimani coming back, you know, I would love nothing more than players that gave their all, that, you know, really put blood, sweat, and tears down for this team to come through it and win a league with us. So I'm hoping that this is our year, and I'm hoping that Freddie Monteiro can help us lift that, you know, ever so weighted, ever so long Liga NOS Cup, the Portuguese league. Now with Sporting, I think we can win. We couldn't win all three competitions again in Portugal. It all depends on how it goes against Porto. I think safe to say, if we beat Porto in Taça Portugal, if we beat Porto in Taça Liga, we will, or we at least have to. Like it's there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to win the finals of those respective competitions. We can very much win the league. Porto's looking strong though. Still, they're, you know, even though they were losing 1-0 to Estoril, I think they would have came back in the second half had they played that. You know, now that they're going to play again at Estoril February 21st, probably with Brahimi and maybe even Otavio. You know, they have a great squad. We also have a great squad. Benfica starting to play well. It'll be interesting to see who wins the league. I think we have a good shot of winning it, but you know, it's going to be really tough. Obviously, it's going to be really tough. And in the Europa League, I think if we can hit quarters or semis, even, I think if we hit quarters, that's a good accomplishment. I think if we go out to Astana, that's going to be very disappointing, depending on who. If we beat Astana, depending on who we pick up on the second round or on the round of 16, I think it is. You know, I think we can go quarters at least in Europa League, and I think that won't be that much of a failure. So yeah, I think we can do well in all fronts, really.
Okay, good input. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, like I said before, great to see Freddie back. You know, the player who I used to love watching when he was there. Like Danny said, like I said, was disappointed when we went to China, because I felt like he could have contributed a bit more, especially when you remember he brought on Georgia's brought Barcos from what team did he come from? He just come from an Argentinian team, and he was absolutely awful. So that still, I think, is a mind-boggling decision in that season. And in terms of trophies, I hope we can win all four, but obviously easier said than done. But for me, I do believe we'll win the league, and then either one of the Taça de Portugal or the Taça de Liga. I'd be happy with either of those two and the league, but I think main priority should be on the league title. And those two other trophies, the Portuguese domestic trophies, are just an added bonus. So yeah, I think the league and one of them two trophies, but I really don't think we have a chance in the Europa League, to be honest.
Okay, so to answer the question from Chip Carvalho, very content with Freddie coming back. On Twitter, I don't get. There's a lot of Sportingistas who's not happy with him coming back. I don't get it. Why? I mean, we're not talking about Bucks or Pengoli or all those bullshit players that we got in the past. We're talking about someone that when he played 2 years and a half, with our team, he scored 37 goals. 37 goals in 2 years and a half. So if that's not a motive of joy, I don't know what to say. So then can we win a few trophies? Yes, definitely. Liga, Taça de Liga, if we win against Porto, then we have a shot to win it. Taça Portugal, again, against Porto. We just have to be serious about these games and not be afraid to play against Porto. I don't like the counterattack style. We're not that good. We should play in the most comfortable tactic that we've used to, which is a 4-4-2. And but like Sam said, and you said, Danny, the Liga NOS, it's the most important title, and the Liga Europa, it's a question of a little bit of luck. We certainly should win, must win against Asna, and then let's see the draw on the 16th to see whoever we get. So that'll be extremely important. So now let's move on. And I have two more questions. Today we got a lot of questions. Who is the next breakout star from the B team? Youth Academy. This is from Kiko Freire. How many players on the squad do you think are going to the World Cup, any country? And out of four new signings, who do you think has the best chance of cracking the starting 11? So, Danny, go ahead.
All right. So the B team, I think maybe the only one that comes to mind right now is Bucante, the left back. Maybe Rafael Leão, but with the addition of Monteiro, and if we keep Doumbia, I'd highly doubt that. Okay, World Cup, let me think. So Patricio, Coach. I don't want to say all of them. I think we can get a good 10. I think that's realistic. 8 to 10. We'll probably have 4 or 5 going to the Portuguese team. So yeah, 8 to 10 players maybe going to the World Cup. And what was the last question? Who we bought to the 11? I think Ruben Ribeiro is making a good case for himself. And really that's it. Maybe depending on how Wendell and Mystic develop. But really, I think Ruben Ribeiro might be the only one, because I highly doubt Monteiro will take Bastos' spot. I think Ruben Ribeiro might be the only one realistically that has a shot to take a spot in the 11.
Agreed. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Ruben Ribeiro is the only player that we signed that will get into the 11. Maybe Montero behind Bastos, but I really don't see that happening unless he goes for a 4-4-2 where both strikers are pretty much next to each other, not one behind. But I really don't think messing with the tactics now is a good idea. The the B team, I'd say Leão, but I agree with Danny as well, because we've got a lot of strikers, but hopefully he improves in the B team, and I could see him next year, or even maybe this January, getting a move on loan to maybe a less Liga NOS side, so that he can actually get a chance at first team football, much like Chelsea Dalla and Chico Gerard have been getting Rio Ave. And the other question with terms of World Cup, yeah, we have I think you could make a case for maybe any member of our starting 11 being, obviously maybe not Bastos because Netherlands didn't make it, but you know, a lot of our players you can make cases for. Mateo has had a great season. Coates, Patricio is obviously starting goalkeeper for Portugal. Cohen Trauer's made back to fitness. When you look at all of those players, even Acuna and Pataglia for Argentina, I think they all have a fantastic chance of getting into this with their World Cup squads, and hopefully they do.
Okay. Good answer. So now, so let me answer. So from the B team, I think Luis Maximiano, our goalie, he's up and coming, but it's going to be difficult for him because we're very deep as goalies. We have Rui Patricio, Salah in our A squad, Vladimir Jostovic, and Pedro Silva. So he's going to have to wait a little bit. I'm pretty sure he's going to be loaned. Then in defense, we have, like you said, Kawakate. I like Mauro Riquichinho, but my favorite one in the defense is Merida Demiral. I think this guy will have a crack at making the A team. Then in midfield, I would say that the one that has the most chances is Rafael Barbosa. He has scored some amazing goals for the B team. And then as forwards, my favorite player is Pedro Marques. Pedro Marques, I think he's up and coming, and this kid is very good. Now, how many players do I think will go to the World Cup? Rui Patricio for sure. Mathieu, I don't think so, because I don't want to say he's too old, but he hasn't been called for the French national team, so I don't think he will. Ritovsky, I think he will, for sure, because he has played for his national team. Kawat is for sure. Piccini has a chance for the Italian national team, even though they're not going to the World Cup, they were eliminated. So, but for those friendly games, I think they'll give him a shot, because Juventus actually was looking into him to buy him off Sporting. I think Bataglia has a shot for Argentina. Bruno Fernandes for sure. Brian Ruiz for sure for the Costa Rica national team. Acuna for sure for Argentina. William Carvalho for sure. Um, Ruben Ribeiro, I don't know. He might have a chance if he has a great season. Second half, now he plays at Sporting. He might. Dumbia, he'll play for his national team for sure. Bas Dost, so far he's been making his national team. Is the Netherlands in the World Cup or they were
No, they're
eliminated?
not. They're
They're
not.
not.
Neither is Ivory Coast, so I don't think Dumbia.
Yeah, so Doumbia and Bas Dost will play some friendly game for the national team for sure. Yuri Medeiros now, Podence for the sub 21, Jose Martins for sure, and that's
Maybe
it.
even Freddie for Colombia if he plays well too.
Yeah, never know, but Freddy Monte, yeah, you never know. You're right. Yeah. And then let me see the out of the four signings, I think the only one that has a chance to crack the starting 11 will be definitely Ruben Ribeiro, and that's it. So now let's see. I have one more last question, and that's it. And it's been a lot of questions today. I know. Okay. So the last question is from John Lyon. He's a big fan of our podcast and also our Twitter page. And he says, what do you guys think about the return of Montero? I think we already spoke about that. Who's leaving the team this month? Alain, Pellegrini, Petrovic. So the second half of the question, we can actually dive into it. So who do you think will be leaving the team, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. Alan Ruiz is gone. Matheus Oliveira is looking like he's gone too. There's talk of Videoton picking up Petrovic. I think we have to keep at least one of them, either between Petrovic or Pelinha, just in case. Of course, maybe Mystic can play that position, so maybe Jorge Jesus will feel comfortable in loaning out two of them. I think we should loan out Pelinha, get him some first team minutes. He is still young. He has a lot to offer the team in the future. Douglas is still on the team sheet. He needs to fuck off soon. I think Doumbia needs to leave. And yeah, I think that's about it of players leaving.
Okay, Sam, what do you think?
Players leaving. I agree with Alan Ruiz. Hopefully he goes soon. We know Yuri's going to Genoa.
Right.
Petrovic, I've never liked him. He can go. Who else is there? If we can get a couple of million off Brian Ruiz, I don't see why we shouldn't get rid of him too. Tobias out on loan. Polina probably out on loan as well. And is there anyone else I'm missing? No, I think that's it for me in terms of outs.
Okay, so my take on it is I think we should either sell or loan Tobias Figueiredo. He's gotten plenty of chances. Matheus Oliveira, like we spoke about, is on his way to Vitória. Petrovic, Vieton from Hungary, they're interested in him, so let him go for God's sake. Brian Ruiz, after this month, he'll be a free agent. So if we can get some money out of it, sell him, really, because then he'll go for free. Alain Ruiz, for God's sake, just pay him his flight ticket and let him go. There's a few teams interested in him. Espanyol, Colón from Argentina, and also Grêmio from Brazil. So I think the one in the best position to actually give us a better deal is Espanyol on a loan for a year and a half and for $1 million, and they pay the salary. And then after that, they'll have to buy him for 8 to 10 millions. So that's a debate on that. Pelina, if we're not going to play him, then loan him, because I think he's a player for the future, but he needs to play. And then up front, believe it or not, Hernando Barcos still shows up in our roster. I don't know why.
He's loaned out to Quito in Ecuador.
Yeah, Ecuadorian team. And then Yuri Medeiros, if he only got as many chances as he's got as Alain Ruiz gotten, I think Yuri Medeiros would be staying in the team actually. But it's JJ. He's like that. Yeah. Sometimes he burns certain players, and I think he burned Yuri Medeiros because he never got so many looks like Alain Ruiz. Alain Ruiz, he kept on giving him so many chances But Yuri Medeiros, he never gave him as many chances, and that to me it bothers me because not only is he a Portuguese player, but he's a great player, and why he was so in love with Alan Ruiz, he beats me. But anyway, so and that's all I got, Sam. So to all our fans who submitted the questions, thank you so much, and Sam, back at you.
I've actually just got one final question to add to that, and it was something I think you were talking about earlier, Steph. It was there was some negative reaction towards the Montero signing, and I saw a lot of it myself on Twitter as well. So the question I've got for you two: was this a sentimental signing? Could we have gotten better elsewhere? Especially, we have been linked with Jackson Martinez. We've seen how he's done in the league and that he's a beast, and we were linked with some other strikers. Do you think we should have got a better striker instead of Freddie Montero? Steph, I'll let you start.
Well, the thing is, when you say getting a better strike, you have to think about how much is it going to cost. First of all, has he been playing? Is it someone with rhythm? Is it someone that understands the Portuguese culture and the Portuguese league? So you have to take several things into account. It's not just I'm going to buy a player. Like we said, Wendell and Mizik. It's very clear from the Sporting side. It's very clear from JJ that this is players for the future. Sporting is being very realistic, and that's why I love my club so much. Ruben Ribeiro, they said, hey, this guy, he understands the Portuguese league. He's full of rhythm from Rio Ave, so he can just fit in. And that's acceptable for most of us. Montero, it's very similar too, because Montero knows the Portuguese culture, understands Liga Norte. He's very good with tactics, so he'll just blend into the team. It's just a question to acquire rhythm because he hasn't played since the 3rd of November. But now, if you're going to buy just a striker, just for the sake of it, it might take a few months for him to adapt to the reality of our club. It don't matter how good he is. So I think this and the price, how much money. So this was a good deal, a good player that has scored, 37 goals with our jersey, and knows our team real well. So I'm content with Montero. So I was very surprised that we got Montero actually. So getting another striker, who Gilberto, the one from Brazil that everyone thinks he sucks. I mean, who else? The guy from Athletic Madrid, Vieto, which didn't score one goal for Athletic Madrid. I mean, we're talking about someone that possibly would have been like Pongol. So no, thank you, but I'm very content with Montero. And Sportingistas have to realize it's not always about just buying a player. It's how much will he cost? Does he know the reality of the club in the Portuguese league? So I'm content with Montero.
Danny, what do you think?
I think the signing of Montero was a smart signing, but at the same time, it was obviously sentimental as well. You can tell the way we were playing it on social media that it was a big return, and that I think there's only a minority of fans that are really upset with getting Freddie Montero. I think with the strikers we were linked to, I'm not too sure if the Jackson ones are real or not, but if in the case that it was real, I doubt that we'd be able to afford them. Similar to Slimani, I think I would have preferred Slimani just because he's a similar player to Bas Dost. So obviously the two of them wouldn't be able to play together, at least like at the same time. But if Bas Dost gets injured, at least Slimani can fill in like it's nothing. I think if Bas Dost gets injured, we'd have to sort of change the way of our play with Freddie Montero. But I don't see that being necessarily a huge issue. I think Freddie Montero is a great player. He's showed his ability here before. Even in Vancouver, he was the best player this season. I know it's the MLS and maybe there's negative connotations behind it, but I think the MLS is a decent league. It's not that far off from the Portuguese league anymore. I think maybe just defending wise, I think the Portuguese league might be a little bit better, but I think MLS is a highly competitive league, and to see what he's done at Vancouver, being one of their main men, it's only positives for us. The only negative is that he hasn't played since November or December, whenever the last game of the playoff was for him. So yeah, no, I think it was a smart signing. And out of all of the ones we were linked to, it was probably one of our better ones. And you know, if we would have got Gilberto, he played at Toronto FC. I seen him play live. He's the worst sack of shit I've ever seen in my life. We'd be better off with a pylon. So yeah, no, I'm thrilled with Monteiro at a sentimental side, but also at in a sportive side. I think he has a lot to offer to this team.
Fair enough. I agree with both of you anyway. I don't think it was a sentimental signing, but I also think he'd improve the team when he's here as well. Anyway, it's 45 minutes in. We haven't even spoken about the game yet, so let's probably do that now. It was a review of the Avs game, which finished 3-0, 3 goals from Bas Dost and an assist on his debut for Ruben Ribeiro. So we'll start off with the lineup, and we'll go with Rui Patricio in goal, Piccini, Coates, Mateu, Coentrao, Bruno Fernandes, William Carvalho, Gelson Martins, Marcos Acuna, Ruben Ribeiro, and Bas Dost. Steph, what did you think about the game?
The game actually started shaky because Avs could have scored very earlier. But then, you know, we are a more experienced, pragmatic team, and we basically were able to contain our emotions. And then Bas Dost scored finally at minute 31st, which was a relief for all of us. But by no means, I mean, Avs was very, very, very dangerous. I know Leach Vidigal was not on the bench, but the assistant coach is equally as qualified as Leach Vidigal. They played a Leach Vidigal style, which is a coach with a lot of success. I like him very much. I mean, I know I'm about to say something that a lot of Portuguese would basically choke me on it, but I would like to see him at Sporting actually, because I like him. He has a lot of charisma. He's not afraid to take a risk. But you know, Avs in the counter-attack, I could see Avs doing a great second round in the Portuguese Liga NOS. They have a really interesting team. But, you know, we're able to basically bounce back from a couple of dangerous plays from Avs. In the second half, we got a penalty, which to me, it's a penalty. If you push Gelson Martins, you know, from the back, what do you expect? It's a penalty. Some people, some of our rivals were questioning what kind of bullshit penalty was this. It was a penalty. You know, I mean, he pushed him from the back. That's it, end of it. And then Bas Dost, you know, he finished with a hat trick, which he gave me 30 points in my fantasy league, by the way. So I loved it. Yeah. So he made it 90. But besides that, Sporting controlled the game, dominated the game. It's true, if Avs would have scored the chances they had, it could have been a different game. But you know what? They didn't. If we would have scored all the chances we had, it would have been also a 5-2 game maybe. So we can say, because at the flash interview, the coach from Avs and the chosen player would say, "Oh, if we scored first, it would have been a different game." Okay, yeah, but if Sporting scored all the goals that we had the chances to score, then it would have been a different game too. So, you know, but I love the fact that we didn't freak out, and we kept in control of the game, and that's it. I mean, it was a good win. We're still in the race, and now we're in first place since Porto decided to pull a fast one because they didn't want to play the next 45 minutes the next day. So fuck them, really. I hate them at this point in time because I know what they're trying to do. I don't like clubs that try to win 3 easy points in the Secretaria. I hate that. Win it by playing the game. But anyway, we deserve to win the game, and that's it.
Yeah.
Danny, what do you think? Yeah, sorry.
No.
To speak.
Yeah, it was a good game. I think Steve Dejav started off very well. You know, Patricia had to make a save right in the opening 10 to 15 minutes. But Sporting got more and more into the game. You know, we got a great goal, individual play from Ruben Ribeiro, who I think I know we'll probably get into more individualized later on, but I think he was a little lost positionally, which is normal. I mean, he just joined the team. He's only had 2 training sessions. I mean, in Estoril, I know he was able to wander around everywhere, but I think for the most part, he was more of a winger than he was playing centrally, at least from the games I would see of him. But I think he did well. At least he was all over the pitch, which is encouraging to see. I wish he was a bit more tactically aware, but hopefully with time he'll get there. Great individual play. Has the defender in front of him ice skating, and then he serves up Bastos perfectly. And then a penalty was a fair penalty, or before even that, then Desportivo de Chaves goes the other way. Beautiful counterattack hits the bar, luckily for us. But aside from those, are really the only two opportunities I remember Desportivo de Chaves really having. And then second half comes and Spartan, we're a bit more dominating. We're controlling the game a lot better. Jelson gets the penalty, which is an obvious penalty. The player doesn't even get a touch of the ball. He's really behind Jelson. He trips Jelson, so it's a fair penalty. There's nothing much you can say about that. And then towards the end of the game, Piccini crosses it in perfectly to Bas Dost. Bas Dost is in the area by himself. And for the most part, it was a good game. It was good to see our players playing that way, especially Ruben Ribeiro, who just came into the team. It was good to see Mathieu. He was dominating the back line after coming back from an injury. I think Bruno Fernandes and Jelson had a decent game. I know I see some people complaining about him online. They didn't obviously have their best games, but I think they did all right. They didn't do anything really bad. I think Bruno Fernandes could have done a bit better, maybe finishing. Jelson definitely could have done a bit better finishing, but I think that's been his biggest weakness this season, and for I guess his whole career has been his finishing. He's been weak at the end product. Hopefully, he can improve that sooner than later. That was it. We dominated performance. We deserve to win. We maybe deserve to win by a few more. Maybe if we're talking about the fairness, I guess, quote unquote fairness, Desportivo de Chaves might have deserved a goal. But it was 3-0, fair result, and a good win for us.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I feel like we dominated. But that being said, I thought Avs were very good. Not very good, but were decent attacking wise. We've all seen those games where Sporting play like a mid-table side or even a lower table side, and all they do for 90 minutes is part of the bus. But I was actually surprised how well Aves were attacking us, and I feel like our defence did well to hold up and not let any goals in. But that being said, Bas Dost with 2 consecutive hat-tricks in 2 weeks. I was very impressed with him. But I know you just said that you thought Jelson had a decent game. I really thought he could have done a bit better of the opportunities he had. Like you said, that's been a weakness of his whole career, just finishing and finding the right movements and passes. But I really think he's still quite young. He has time to improve on that. So he's not a lost cause or anything. Acuna, I feel like, played better out of the two. I was disappointed to see Brian Ruiz come on, though, because, he did score the last game he played, but I really wish that we gave a chance to like Steph said earlier in the podcast, that Yuri should have gotten a chance there, because we've given so many chances to people like Brian and Alan that we've missed out on players like Yuri and even Chico Geralds, who's having the form of his life at Rio Ave, but I reckon he still could have done a fantastic job off the bench for us. Ruben Ribeiro I was really impressed with him. Great assist. It was almost, when you look at, I know it's going to sound a bit of a stupid comparison, but when Messi does those great assists for Barcelona, that's who he reminded me of. He just fantastic footwork, and he just reads the game so greatly as well. It's like he's been at Sporting for his whole career, the way he just managed to pick up Bas Dost with that pass. But what else was I going to say? This is one of those games as well that I thought we were going to struggle a bit, just because I've seen a few games of ours, and even the game we played, the first game we played against them, we did struggle a bit offensively, and we did struggle. But I feel like we did improve. We've improved a lot over the last few weeks, and that's pretty much all I have to say on the game as well. Dominating performance in a great 3 points. And I think we're going to skip the ratings. I will ask you both for your man of the match and the player you would most like to see improve for the next game. So, Danny, I'll start with you. Who is your man of the match and the player you'd most like to improve?
My man of the match would have to go to Bas Dost. I think if you score a hat trick, you deserve it. He played well. He even connected. He did well on attacking it, like in the sense of like linking up play and even connecting with his teammates. There was one, but the opportunity I think we're all talking about with Gelson, it came from Bas Dost running on the wing and centering it to him. So I think his overall game was amazing, and he's the first Sporting player to score consecutive hat tricks after Mario Jardel 16 years ago, which is encouraging. Mario Jardel is a fantastic player for both Sporting and Porto. The player to improve, I think Acuna. I think Acuna had a really quiet game. He's been missing the last few games. I think this Aves games was really his worst performance under a Sporting shirt. He wasn't really connecting with passes that well. He wasn't really dominating the left flank that well. He wasn't helping out at defense as much as he used to, or as much as we're used to seeing him. I think Acuna was probably the worst player, and hopefully he can improve the next game and show his quality that we were seeing in the beginning of the season.
Fair enough. Steph, who is your man of the match and the player you'd most like to improve? Steph, your mic's muted. Okay, I'll go while we have Steph.
Hey, I'm back, bro.
Okay, fair enough.
No, okay. So the man of the match, without a doubt, is Bas Dost. I mean, with a hat trick, it's actually the 6th one for Sporting. So like Danny said, it's like Mario Jardel, just cross him the ball, and he'll put it in the net. In 24 touches, he scored 24 goals. So he doesn't need too many touches, really. He's 100% accuracy. And then the one that needs the most improvement for me, it's Podence. He's taking too long to adapt to the reality of the JJ tactics. Sometimes he seems like he's lost on the pitch. He's got a great, a rank. When he takes off, it's hard to catch him. He's got a great final pass. But he lacks a bit of vision, and he lacks a bit of playing for the team. He's still stuck in that individual mode. He's playing for a big team, so I mean, he needs to pick up the slack, and that's all I have.
Yeah, my man of the match was obviously Bas Dost hat trick. You really can't fault any of his goals or his game entirely. And my worst player who I'd like to improve, for me, it's Gelson. Podence, Steph, to his credit, only got about, I think, less than 10 minutes of game time. But Gelson was playing poor the whole game. Like we said, needs to work on his finishing. Sometimes his decision making is questionable at best. I think him and Bruno Fernandes had really poor games, and I really hope they improve, especially Bruno Fernandes. The last few games I would say he's been the man of the match most of the last few games, and this game maybe just because he had to drop down to the holding midfielder role because Ruben Ribeiro was in his position. I think that was probably it, but I really hope he improves his game, and same for Gelson as well. That's pretty much the end of the sporting game. Steph, have you got a roundup for us of the sporting universe?
Yes, I do. So basically, on Saturday, which was the 13th of January, our Sporting B team, we lost against Sporting de Covilhã 1-0. It was a very intense game. We had tons of chances to score, but we never did, so we lost. Then our ladies won 5-0. So that's very impressive. We're still in first place with 5 points away from Sporting Braga, which will be our next game against them. So I love the consistency. So then we had our futsal. We lost the final of Taça da Liga, League Cup against Benfica 5-2. Hands down, Benfica played better. No questions. I watched the game. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to talk about referees. That would be total bullshit. Benfica just played better. So we had an off game. We had 60 chances of goal. We didn't score one chance. We scored two towards the end when Benfica was already up 4-0. So they won fair and square. Volleyball, we won against Leixões 3-0. So we still in first place. In outdoors atletismo racing, we won in men and ladies. So we're champion of Portugal in Nacionais de Estrada. So it's outdoors racing. So congratulations to both of our teams. Then Inês Monteiro was champion of Portugal as well, no Nacionais de Estrada. So congratulations to Inês. Juniors, under 19, we won 5-0 against Cova da Piedade. So that's a really good result. Sporting in Oquim Patins, we lost pretty bad against the champion of Italy. We won at home against them, and then we went to Italy. We lost 7-4, which was a bad result, but don't forget, it was against the Italian champion. Juvenis, we won 3-0 against Real. Under 17 ladies, we were champions of track and field. So congratulations to our youth. Couple more things, and that's it. We have four of our players were called for the national team of futsal, and six of our athletes were called for the national team of judo, being Joana Ramos, Mariana Esteves, João Abreu, Sergio Olniek, Henry Egudexki, and José Fonseca. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the names. Then the four players from futsal that would call for the national team was João Matos, Pedro Cari, André Souza, and Pani Varela. So overall, we did pretty good in modalidades. We expected to win the first trophy of 2018 with futsal, but we didn't. But you know what? They won the Super Cup. They qualified for the Final Four of the Champions League. We're in first place in futsal in our league. So, and we still have a Taça Portugal. So they're still doing really great. So nothing to say against them whatsoever. Our ladies, they're doing great. Volleyball, they're doing great. And Oquim Patins are still doing great, which they're playing now against Porto, and the score is 0-0. I'm following the game online. And that's all I got.
Okay, we play on Friday, I believe, against Setúbal.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Against Setúbal.
Yep. Okay, so what are your guys' predictions for the game? Steph, go on.
Okay, so the game, I believe, is away in New Bonfim. Am I right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So we played at home twice, and because it was the switching of the second round. So I think it'll be a difficult game because when we play against Setúbal in Bonfim, it's always a difficult game. But I have no doubts we'll win, and I'm going to say 3-0, another hat trick from Bas Dost.
Fair enough. Danny, what's your prediction for the game?
Yeah, I'll give it's going to be a hard-fought game, but they are towards the end of the table. I think it's going to be I'll agree with Steph, a 3-0 win with a goal from Freddie, a goal from Bas Dost, and a goal from Ruben Ribeiro.
I'm going to go with a slightly different. I'm going to go with 2-0, but not 2-0 as in dominating 2-0. I really think we'll struggle because, like Steph said, we always manage to struggle away. So I'm going to go with a 2-0, and I'm going to go with a goal from Dost and a goal from Mateo off a corner. So that's my wishful thinking. Put your bets on that, and I don't know how much. That'll probably be a decent amount of money, depending on the odds. So, yeah. But that being said, that is the end of today's podcast. Thank you, Steph and Danny, for joining me as always. We hope you are all watching us next time, which is to be confirmed. But other than that, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Viva Sporting!